Guys, welcome to another Battle Tanks commentary video by me, Eric. It's been a while since I've done this, but let's get into it. On the North team, we have Public opting for a Scout, and I'm assuming that this is a Bombarding Rockets upgrade. We also have Enemy with a Light Cannon and Hokuto with a Bombard Rocket. So we've got two Bombard Rockets from the North. They're going to struggle with playwithnoob, who opted for a Tinker. Given that they're only going to do 10% damage to him. Playwithnoob is supported by DarkLighter with a basic magic and GoblinKing with a light cannon. Meanwhile, on the top, we have Incognito, who went anti-grav with Molotov. Presumably he's going to go up against Hellcat, who's going to get an energy or electro cannon is what it's called. He'll be there in a minute or two. Meanwhile, Gabriel, we had 3 scouts on the North team. Gabriel went scout with a Bombard upgrade. That allows him to get to the lane a bit quicker than what Hellcat did, going for the electro cannon, though it does have a DPS disadvantage. Gabriel is going up against Pikabar, who went with a basic magic upgrade. For anybody who doesn't know, Pikabar is the #1 ranked player in the world with about 2200 ELO. Gabriel has, I think, about 1500 ELO, so this matchup should favor Pikabar. We should expect Pikabar to push towards the opposing command post in a while. Meanwhile, the mid looks like they are just creeping, trying to wait for an opportunity to gank an opponent. This South team's likely going to try to use Playwithnoob's energy torpedo to get lucky shots on opponents before ganking them. Alternatively, GoblinKing can instigate fights with his W ability, triple rockets, which stuns enemies, and so can DarkLighter. He can actually get his, I think it's called boulder shot or artillery shot, his Q ability, which only affects land units, so we can't use it against Hokuto, but he can launch a projectile that will stun and damage enemy units in a small area. So they have a lot of ways to instigate fights, and the North team has to be very careful about positioning and not stepping out of line, like DarkLighter actually just did from the South team. Stepped right in front of all of his towers in a vulnerable spot and was able to just quickly get focused down and triple rocketed. Hellcat pushing Incognito back to his own tower. The Scout does have a special type of tank cannon that has extra range and DPS over the normal tank cannon. This allows Scouts to usually push towards the enemy command post because they can clear out creeps so quickly. I believe Hellcat also has a higher ELO than Incognito does, so he's also the more skilled player. So just as we'll expect Pikabar to push the south side, we should see Hellcat pushing the north side sometime soon, especially after he can either change his tank from a Scout to one that can more aggressively damage Incognito, or at least get a hull. We'll probably do that. We'll see if he upgrades the electro cannon first, or whether he gets a hull. In the meantime, Incognito actually getting the kill on Hellcat, as you saw right there, able to use his abilities. Hellcat's Scout cannon does not deal damage to enemy tanks, so he's limited to the DPS of the electro cannon, whereas Incognito can use his own tank cannon to turn the tide in those close fights. Meanwhile, Gabriel, the other Scout, is pushing Pikabar, as we would expect in the early game. We'll see how quickly Pikabar can use his better anti-tank abilities from the anti-grav to start pushing Gabriel back. Looks like the middle got a kill. Playwithnoob has to be careful with multiple Bombard rockets around. They can almost accidentally get kills on him, the same way that he could get kills with the electro cannon. 2 Bombard shots and he's dead. The Tinker does have a teleport ability, so he can teleport out of the way if he sees a projectile or a tank ability, such as the triple rockets heading his way. But I believe the cooldown on that is 40 seconds, so he can't use it very often. And it looks like he's actually been pushed back from trying to set up his towers here in the middle to setting them up closer to his own command post. And he just changed a tank to a helicopter. Probably a wise move by him. He can retain his long range surprise DPS, but he's not nearly as vulnerable. And now all three of these tanks have stun abilities. So they've got long range and stun, which allows them to play very aggressively. We'll see what happens in the middle. Oh, almost got a kill there. They did get a kill. Hokuto's trying to be aggressive, though GoblinKing did get killed in return from the south team. It's now been 5 minutes, so we'll see if Gabriel gets a hole or a change of tank. Pikabar is probably getting another basic magic right now, as well as a tech mech. Yep, we see him get the tech mech and the basic. Upgrade the basic as well. GoblinKing probably needs a hole, though he's a little bit short. I don't even know if he has a tech mech. He needs 1,400 gold, I think, to be able to teleport to the base and back, though another 350 on top of that if he wants to buy a tech mech as well. Good combo kill. Everybody using their abilities. Hellcat did opt for a hole instead of going for another tank. You can see he's actually brought his tech mech along to provide some additional regeneration. He can also use the tech mech in a very close fight to stay next to his tank and draw some of the fire from Incognito. He didn't do that there. And there is a cost to that because tech mechs take a long time to repair, so that damage isn't completely free. It's sometimes inconsequential. Did Hokuto get a burst armor? I saw him get hit by an energy torpedo and not take damage. He did. Usually when I'm a low hit point vehicle like helicopter, I'd opt for a hold before the burst armor. While he is pretty much immune to the stray occasional energy torpedo shot, he can get focused quite easily. So can Public, this scout who is without a hull. Enemy's the only one with a hull. The north team is able to get the kill, oh, but the south team gets one in return. DarkLighter getting a second basic magic, and GoblinKing does in fact have a hole now. He also has a tech mech, you can see that on the mini-map. Incognito jumps out of the way. Hellcat is pushing his tower. For anybody not familiar with battle tanks, if your creeps are getting pushed to your own command post's tower, that's not good for you because this tower will steal a lot of kills from you, and that's gold that you do not get. And I think we just saw that tower kill a Marine just now. So Hellcat probably is going to have a gold advantage over Incognito pretty soon. Pikabar showing some aggression against Gabriel. He does miss the Q, and Gabriel gets the kill on Pikabar in return. Not much going on in the middle. Incognito, if he has a jump in him, he can probably get the kill on Hellcat. Yep. That was a bit too greedy of Hellcat to stay so far forward with little hit points and jumping anti-grav next to you. The anti-grav jump has a pretty short cooldown, I think it's only 18 seconds, so you can use it pretty frequently. Playwithnoob upgraded his energy torpedo. Let's see if he gets a hole or if he tries to get another long-range weapon. He might go bombard rockets. I doubt he'll be able to save all the way up for another energy torpedo. Let's see if he gets a kill here. There's a probability. Oh, maybe it hit a creep. It looked like it hit enemy, but didn't do any damage. North team got pretty lucky there. There was a 50-50 shot that Playwithnoob would have killed somebody there. Public does have a hole now. Hokuto still doesn't have a hole. He does have that burst armor. Pikabar with 3 basics, Gabriel with 2 basics, and an iron hull. So he's been farming quite a bit of gold. He doesn't have much in reserve though. He can still use the range advantage of his bombard to hit Pikabar where Pikabar can't hit him. Though keep in mind that the anti-grav abilities do scale better into the mid-game, or the mid-early game against enemy tanks. Though not if you're pausing to hit the Q on the creeps and ignoring the enemy shooting at you. That was a misplay by pikabar. Pika is indeed feeding Gabriel. Not his best first 10 minutes, but let's see if he turns it around. Action happening in the mid. Are they going to get the kill on DarkLighter? Yes, they do. Enemy dies in return. playwithnoob's going to get out of there. Is Gabriel going to get another kill? Oh, almost. Pikabar is able to jump out of the way. When you're having to use your jump defensively against a scout, that's not the best sign. Hellcat with a surprise repair kit, able to regenerate quite a bit of hit points in a couple of seconds. That can be useful during fights since you're still taking damage. It does regenerate 2,000 hit points. He only has 1,600, but if he's in the middle of the fight and takes another 400 or so damage during the time that that repair is active, he can get the full 2,000. Though this is an interesting build, as Phoenix is commenting, you don't see that very often. One of the advantages of Repair Kit is that you can use it to maintain offensive aggression on a tower. You saw the instance earlier where Incognito was able to wear Hellcat down slowly but surely, even though Hellcat was pushing the tower, and eventually he was able to jump on and kill Hellcat. This Repair Kit allows Hellcat to regenerate his full hit points every 50 seconds, I think, and that should allow him to maintain more aggression here, though it is uncommon to see that on a scout. He could have alternatively bought Repair Robots, which regenerates a constant 50 hit points a second, I believe, but the Repair Robots don't scale that well into the mid-game. 2,000 hit points of repair is always useful. Couple of kills in the middle. Enemy opted for a basic magic and an iron hole upgrade, which sometimes as light tank you get a better weapon than another basic magic, so we'll see whether he gets a second basic magic or whether he's trying to save up for a quick heavy tank or something. Public with 2 bombards, trying to deal DPS and maybe get the occasional kill from long range. That does synergize well with Hokuto's long range. Oh, and they did get a kill off of that. They're going to have to take advantage of this long range quickly though. Probably get some kills in the next 5 or 10 minutes, because once the mid-game tanks roll in, the bombard rockets aren't as effective. Lots of tank abilities can close the gap between long range and short range very, very quickly, or use stuns, and at that point raw DPS matters a bit more than 1300 range does. In fact, the south team is the one getting the kills. Granted, they do have some long range themselves. playwithnoob getting bombard rockets to supplement his energy torpedo and deal a lot of damage per second from long range. Thus, he doesn't have to get a hole quite yet. Incognito with an iron hole and 3 Molotov cocktails. It's a pretty DPS heavy build. If he is able to use his jump on Hellcat, and especially once he gets to level 10 and he can use his phase out ability, I forget what it's called, the one that shuts down a tank for a couple of seconds, he can force Hellcat to either change tank or be pushed back to his own tower. He's probably going to have to jump out of the way there, because Hellcat does have the repair kit. Yep. South team getting more kills in the middle. Are they going to get one more on enemy? Yep. Nowhere to run. What is Hokuto doing? He bought another weapon but didn't have enough hit points to teleport in. You almost wonder if he should have just, seeing that his ally enemy was in trouble, sold the bombard rockets real quick, hopped in to protect him, and then used his tech mech, which he might not have. And that's probably why he didn't do it. He could have had a tech mech just bring him the weapon in the middle, but he didn't have one, so he was kind of out of position there. Whose kinetic was that? That was Public's. Good job, definitely netted his team a kill there. Hellcat with 2 basic magics to supplement his DPS. Let's see if he can maintain his aggression on the tower. Probably not, because that repair kit does have a 50-second cooldown, and Incognito, as you just saw there, his own jump has only an 18-second cooldown, so he can catch Hellcat off guard if he's being too greedy. Almost got a kill there. Play with noob, just bought something. Let's see if it's a hole. Probably should be a hole at this point. Yep. Iron hole upgrade at 15 minutes, so that's actually not a bad array of weapons and items to have at 15 minutes if you're saving. And he can maintain some long distance aggression on enemy tanks. Gabriel with a 2nd bombard rockets and pikabar with a 4th basic magic. Both of these players are known for playing as ghost tank when they play on the lanes, so let's see if either of them, or maybe even both of them, opt for the ghost tank. The fact that they're still buying items at the 15-minute mark and filling up their inventories probably suggests that they're not gonna try to save for a tier 3 tank such as Demon or Frost. They'll probably get ghost tanks soon. DarkLighter does appear to be saving. He could opt for a kinetic shield, though he might just save for another tank. Play with noob is probably saving. He might get a hunter. Hunter does pretty well with long range. And then GoblinKing, he got his own kinetic shield. So we've got 1 kinetic on each. Actually, this north team has 2 kinetic shields. So if they get into a long drawn-out fight, we'll see who can take advantage of the extra kinetic to perhaps spring a surprise 1500 hit points on the enemy, get a couple of kills that way. You just saw the Demolisher use his stun ability, the artillery shot I think it's called, though it was countered by a kinetic from enemy. Pikabar has been unable to push Gabriel to the tower, and he has 1300 gold and Gabriel has 1300 gold as well, and they have similar value inventories. Pikabar does have the anti-grav level 10, which can shut down the movement and weapons of an enemy, so it also makes them invulnerable to attack, whereas Gabriel's own level 10 ability traps the enemy in a net, so it similarly disables the movement but allows them to continue firing and to be fired upon. The anti-grav ability is generally considered a bit more powerful because you can use it to freeze an enemy, clear the creeps around it, and then either clear the creeps around it so that you can just only deal damage to the enemy tank thereafter, or to allow time for allies to come in and use their own abilities to gank the opponent tank. Incognito does seem to be playing outside of his own tower now, so he's at least not falling behind in gold compared to Hellcat, who did change his tank to a helicopter. Let's see, Incognito does have a slight gold advantage in terms of gold saved up, though Hellcat does have a more valuable inventory. Incognito does need to jump out of the way. Pikabar, in the meanwhile, got a kill on Gabriel, and he had a lot of hit points left, so he probably used his R ability to catch Gabriel out of position and then deal a bunch of damage to him without taking any in return. Kinetic shield used to save Public, who uses a net launcher. Actually, that's the scout level 10 ability. That can come in handy against 2 helicopters. Didn't do anything there though. Incognito with a kill on Hellcat. enemy doesn't have any gold for some reason. It's almost 20 minutes and he's light tank, so he's a bit behind on that and he might get killed. He's going to be saved by a kinetic shield. And in fact, they get a kill. Good use of the kinetic shield. Public does have a lot of gold, so we should expect him to grab a tank. If not at the 20-minute mark, then perhaps a hunter at 25 or a similarly priced tank. Hokuto with a modest amount of gold meanwhile, and they're going to gank pikabar, who was trying to deal damage to this tower, creeped up a little bit too close. Gabriel did get a ghost tank, so let's see if pikabar responds with his own ghost tank. As far as I know, ghost tank versus ghost tank favors the ghost tank on the offensive. Looks like pikabar is not opting for a ghost tank though. I think he has been shamed out of it by people whining about him using it constantly in the Discord. He gets a no weapon sky tank at 20 minutes. I wonder how that's going to do against a ghost tank, against which he's going to have to deal a lot of damage. Middle top got 2 kills. Hellcat gets a kill on Incognito, who changed to an airship. Airship is decently good in the lane, though it's not a tank that has the most aggressive kills in terms of being able to jump in and use stuns and gank in the middle, though it's good at holding its own with its W ability that sends a bunch of damaging and healing bots out. And pikabar has 1 weapon. So I'm not sure if he probably needed to change tank immediately, given that Gabriel went ghost tank, though I'm sure pikabar could have held for another like 2 or 3 minutes as anti-grav and probably farmed up some more kills that way. Let's see when the middle gets their tanks. Usually that happens between 20 and 30 minutes, though nobody went and got a quick heavy tank. Oh, that was a blunder. Playwithnoob flew over this tree right as the net hit him, and for anybody who doesn't know, nets, when they hit somebody, if they're over impassable terrain, such as a tree or a ridge, they get transported to the, I think, the origin of the net. And so Playwithnoob, had he been netted maybe right here, his allies could have come in, given him a kinetic shield perhaps, helped him live, but instead he got teleported right into the middle of the north team. Pikabar is able to push on Gabriel, and the sheer amount of hit points that he has and the heavy damage of his abilities do allow him to clear out Gabriel's ghosts and probably his future troops as well. Though if the north team does take a command post, this one, but especially this one, that spells trouble for the south team because Gabriel can siege the base, earn a lot of gold killing towers, and also get a siege pack and an advanced troop pack and supplement his team and his own troops with heavy amounts of armor upgrades. And eventually he can put enough pressure to kill a factory or two. So the south team really needs to be careful about not letting either side fall. Neither of them appear to be in danger anytime soon, though it's something they do need to keep in mind, especially as the game dynamic changes with new tanks being added. Incognito was a bit out of position there, trying to get a sneaky kill on the middle, and Hellcat takes advantage of it. Couple of stuns on enemy, they're able to get a kill. Let's see if the north team gets a kill in return. They need to share damage with DarkLighter there. 2 helicopters running around with a lot of hit points, just kind of let him die, though he probably would have died anyways. For now, Pikabar and Gabriel aren't able to be too aggressive with one another. Pikabar is mostly using his Flame Strike ability on Gabriel's ghosts, and Gabriel doesn't have that much that he could deal 7,000 damage quickly enough to kill Pikabar. Hellcat got his own kinetic shield. That's less common to see in the lanes than in the middle, because at least in the middle you can use it to protect allies, though you can use it in the mid-game once the positions become a bit more fluid. You're not locked into a one-on-one on the lane all the time. Playwithnoob does get a no-weapon hunter. He does have 1,100 gold, though his own, well, he just got some gold from a kill there. That's what getting a quick hunter can net you, I guess, when the enemy still has light tanks. The hunters, its tank cannon is the opposite of the scouts. It only damages tanks and not creeps, which makes it difficult when you get a hunter with no weapons, because right now he can't get any gold by killing creeps. He's gonna either have to wait for Force Gold to come in 4.5 minutes, or try to get a kill. And given that the enemy tanked themselves, that's gonna be harder than it sounds. GoblinKing opting for a ghost tank in the middle. You don't see that very often, though it does present the opportunity for the South team to have a ghost tank siege the opponent's base, similar to how Gabriel would from the North team. Does Hellcat have his repair kit? No, it's off cooldown, so he might die. He does use his kinetic shield to buy some time, but he stepped out of the kinetic shield and got killed. He did get a kill on Incognito in return. Though GoblinKing's ghost tank is not the most useful in the middle, at least in my opinion. Playwithnoob's slow hunter gets pulled by the Goblin Wrecker. Unfortunately, there's not much they can do when Pikabar is in position to help out and when enemy still has a light tank. Gabriel is at the bottom, sieging the tower. He doesn't quite have a mortar pack yet, so there's not too much he can do. South team's DarkLighter got a Goblin Wrecker in return. Let's see if any ping pong happens with one team pulling a tank into a trap and then the other team pulling the tank back to save him. That's always fun to see. In terms of tank choice, even though it seems like the South team has been getting more kills, they have a 30 to 24 kill lead. I do like the North team's choice of tanks in the mid game more than the South team's. I don't think that ghost tank was that wise of a decision, because these tanks synergize very well. GoblinKing can pull a tank into the trap. Public can use his ultimate ability and his acid cloud ability to stun the tank and keep it from moving, and in the meantime enemy can use his flame strike ability to deal something like 3,000 damage to ground-based tanks, which all of these are. So these tanks synergize very well as long as Hokuto is able to trap enemy tanks. If the South team does a good job of dodging Hokuto's Goblin Wrecker hooks, then they're going to be fine. Though the same goes for the North team, though they don't have the same triple combination that the South team does. DarkLighter with a very long hook. Are they going to take advantage of that, get the kill on Public? Is GoblinKing going to die? He gets a Pikabar coming in to help out. This could turn into 2 or 3 kills. Just 2 kills. As I was saying, they don't have quite the triple combination that the North team has. They can follow up the Goblin Wrecker hook with a Hunter ultimate, but the Ghost Tank can't do that much in terms of quick damage or additional stuns. Playwithnoob still doesn't have a weapon back. He could definitely buy his Bombard by now. I would probably start with buying the bombard, at least get yourself some DPS. Did they just hook each other? That was kind of cool. I didn't even know that could happen. I thought Hokuto was dead, but he kind of teleported back a little bit, almost like he hooked something else. Not sure. Gabriel still doesn't have the siege pack, though he definitely could buy it now. He might opt for a speed pack or teleport or something, just for more survivability. Though with pikabar hopping into the middle so often, Gabriel probably could get a siege pack and start putting pressure on this bottom side to prevent 4-on-3 ganks in the middle. DarkLighter with the hook on enemy, able to get a free kill, and Hokuto pulling back public. I don't know if he was trying to go for DarkLighter or if he was just saving public. Didn't quite catch it. Hellcat with burst armor and a strength pack. So he's playing very aggressively with the hunter. He doesn't want to save for a tank yet. He's saving now. He might get a frost robot or something, or maybe a demon tank. I think DarkLighter tried to hook and it hooked a creep right in front of him. That was a missed kill. Incognito and Hellcat still going at it. Incognito with a fire torpedo. That's an expensive weapon. Well, not that expensive for the mid game, though it is nice because it costs 4,000 initially and its upgrade is 2,000. So it's a good use of your inventory slot that allows you to get a weapon quickly. People are able to get the heal in time to escape Gabriel's bombard rockets, which don't do quite enough DPS in the mid game to really take out a sky tank. Ooh, playwithnoob saved by that one little ballista artillery. So far, DarkLighter's been getting more hooks than Hokuto has, though if Hokuto does get the hooks, oh, Hellcat or Incognito comes in from the side and is able to gank public. Hellcat not quite in position. It looks like he was shopping for a frost magic. That's an expensive weapon to put on a helicopter. He was shopping for a weapon and couldn't kill the tower, though he does have a lot of DPS now, so if Incognito leaves the top alone, Hellcat can kill a tower. I don't know if I finished my last comment. It seems like DarkLighter's been getting more hooks than Hokuto, though if Hokuto does get a hook, his teammates have a better combination to follow it up, so it's pretty much an instant kill if Hokuto hooks. With DarkLighter, unless he gets a very long hook, which he does have a speed upgrade, which is a good idea to get as Goblin Wrecker. If he can get a very long hook and pull somebody really out of position, then they can get a kill. You can play with noob. See, like you saw there, if there were maybe a third tank there, GoblinKing wasn't even present, though if there were a third tank, they may have gotten a kill. That wasn't the most opportune of hooks, though. Gabriel finally gets a siege pack, so Pikabar's got to be very careful about leaving the bottom alone. Pikabar is probably saving up for either an artillery or possibly a frost arrows. Frost arrows is a weapon that costs 6,000 gold, and it has 900 range. It does about 400 DPS, though you can change it to a creep only mode, and it increases its DPS by about 300. Good dodge there by public, not getting hooked. Creeps are cleared away. Let's see if Hokuto can get a hook. No, they're playing too carefully. Gabriel's coming to the top, maybe trying to kill the top. If the north team does get this top command post, the top command post is closer to the base than the bottom command post is. So that's a more important one for the south team to protect. DarkLighter almost getting another hook, though Public is able to dodge it again. Public doesn't even have a speed, so he does have to be careful. He's been doing a good job of dodging it so far. Pikabar, can he get a kill on Gabriel? Yes, he can. He got an artillery. 667 damage. The artillery does deal extra damage to ground tanks and troops, so you get the advantage. Similar advantage, not quite as powerful of an advantage as the frost arrows, though it is able to deal extra DPS to enemy tanks. Pikabar will need to be aware that both enemy and Hellcat currently have air tanks, so he's probably better than I am about switching weapons properly. Sometimes I'll get caught in a fight with a sky tank or airship and forget to reset my artillery. playwithnoob has his ultimate ability. They can get a kill right now. Yep. Hokuto tried to save him. That was a good use of the hook. It was just a little bit too late. Hellcat able to save himself with a kinetic shield and get a kill. And that surprise 2,000 hit points from the kinetic shield can turn some close fights like that. Pikabar is ready to respond to Gabriel, trying to deal some damage to this tower. GoblinKing spawned the ghost just in time. I don't think he even did that on purpose to dodge the hook. I don't know if you guys saw DarkLighter was trying to get away and was blocked by playwithnoob and some creeps, and playwithnoob got hit with the Goblin Wrecker's ultimate ability, and its splash damage killed DarkLighter. Pikabar, where are you? Let's see if he's trying to get some aggression on this tower. He did switch it to the normal mode so I can deal DPS. Though Gabriel in a tower race like that, he can do more DPS, and so can Hellcat with his frost magic. Pikabar is able to get the kill on the tower, and so is Gabriel. So it's a 1-to-1 tower trade. The South team does have to be especially careful of Gabriel and his team taking this position. If the South team does take this command post or this command post, they can use GoblinKing to siege the base, though I think Gabriel's a bit more experienced at the ghost tank build and probably has a bit more resources. So GoblinKing does have an advanced troop command, so he can spawn a lot of troops, and the public ultimate, neither his acid cloud nor his ultimate ability can damage troops. His main gun, the Q ability, can. Pikabar on the bottom trying to take the command post from enemy. Incognito does spawn in using the teleport beacon, and they're able to get the kill. So let's say if they use GoblinKing to start sieging the enemy base. Looks like that's what they're going to do, so GoblinKing's probably going to get a siege pack, and that really wasn't good for the North team. With the enemy team, well, with both teams having a ghost tank, every command post matters, and if a team is able to secure an offensive command post, especially one as close as that spells trouble in the current meta. These two guys got to get back to the top, because there's 4-on-2 right now. Noob stunned. He's not able to use his ultimate ability, and he keeps getting hooked. Finally able to get it off, but that's a bit late. His team does get 2 kills though, 3 kills. Actually, that did favor the South team. So it looks like the South team is pretty strongly in the lead right now. GoblinKing might even take out this middle command post tower and make it vulnerable. the South team does have an advantage in kills, and they do have the bottom command post. And now this middle command post is vulnerable. The enemy team, the North team, doesn't really have anything that can damage these troops very well right now. GoblinKing almost got, he got about half of another tower. Just checking that Pikabar did have his artillery set to normal before taking this fight with Hellcat. Hellcat had a weird pause there. Not sure if that was lag or something. Gabriel trying to hold off GoblinKing, though a ghost versus ghost situation, as I said earlier, that does favor the offensive ghost tank, because the offensive ghost tank does have a lot of gold to earn from killing towers. GoblinKing doing more sieging. Every tower killed is more gold for the South team. More gold that can be used for armor upgrades, though GoblinKing will probably want to get a siege pack first. Perhaps combine these two items into a speed pack and then get a mortar teams on, or a siege pack on top of that. playwithnoob, for all the gold he had earlier in the game, he hasn't really farmed up much with Hunter. That's a pretty direct consequence of going Hunter a bit too early and without any weapons. He was able to get one kill on public, but that was pretty much it. He had to spend about 5 minutes without any creep DPS. North team trying to take both of the side command posts at once. South team is able to respond properly to the north one being taken. Let's see what happens here. Looks like the South team is going to hold. That hook actually probably helped the South team there. Hokuto pulled DarkLighter right into two of his allies, which were very low health. So both of the remaining North team's command posts are vulnerable. There is no tower present. And in the meanwhile, GoblinKing is able to deal a lot of DPS against these troops. Gabriel, as a ghost tank, doesn't have all that much in the way of response. He can spawn his own troops, but they're going to take a while to kill the enemy's troops, and those mortars can deal a lot of damage to towers. GoblinKing doesn't even have a separate siege pack yet. Oh, that was a good hook by Hokuto. Too bad his trap was too close. Probably wouldn't have worked anyways, given that they were outnumbered already. Gabriel and Hellcat both trying to take the north command post. They are able to get the build. Enemy comes in from the side. Unfortunately, this South team is going to hold once again. And with that camouflage generator, that Hunter can't really target the low hit point tanks that effectively. Whose orbital was that? Was that playwithnoob's? No, that was Public's. South team did push their aggression a little bit too far, though they did only lose one tank and they killed several, and in the meantime, GoblinKing has taken out all of the protective towers, even the laser tower, to the factories. So the next time a big, long, drawn-out fight like that happens at a command post, expect one or two of these factories to go down. Hellcat still has only a helicopter. I think there are much better tanks with similar DPS at this point in the game, and he's a little bit too vulnerable. Yeah, he died almost instantly there. Public able to get an orbital strike off, but though he is far too outnumbered. Enemy is able to use a net launcher, but once again he doesn't have enough tanks near him to capitalize on it. Kind of fell one by one, and as we can see, GoblinKing is taking out the factories in the meanwhile. One factory down, a second factory might even go down. No, his troops rallied into the base. Though for each factory killed, the south team gets additional income every force gold, and they also don't have to worry about their own troop or having to kill enemy creeps in the way of enemy tanks. Hokuto is able to build a barricade that probably saved the command post, though it might fall anyway. Enemy able to get the net on Incognito, and just like what happened earlier in the game, Incognito was passing right over the tree when the net hit, and that teleported him back to the origin of the net. Public not quite able to get the kill on playwithnoob. DarkLighter is pushing the middle, it's going to be repelled. Actually, it might not even be repelled. They might take this. No, they had tanks spawn in. Hellcat is very vulnerable. He was able to get the kill on pikabar, though it did cost a lot. Pikabar able to get a build. I don't know if he brought a tech mech in. It seemed like he wasn't quite in the position to build. And so the bottom team does take the middle command post. And I was going to comment on this, though there was action happening in the middle. GoblinKing did take out another factory. Let's see if he's gotten any armor upgrades yet. Looks like, yeah, it looks like they have 5 armor upgrades, or 5 creep upgrades over the north team. So the game's probably going to end within 10 minutes. If the north team doesn't give up now, they will soon. And if not, this command post will be taken pretty quickly. The south team has too much of a gold advantage, and a tank advantage, and a creep armor advantage. They could content with themselves with just sieging the base. DarkLighter pushes a little bit too far. I was going to comment that he does have the same DPS as Hellcat does, though he has a much better tank. Incognito using his repair kit, extended repair kit even, a 4,000 hit point repair kit to stay alive there. And this base is just becoming more and more taken out every minute. Gabriel doesn't have his advanced true command to take out pikabar's barricade. If he had been able to take it out quickly and perhaps build something of his own, maybe a teleport beacon. Oh, DarkLighter with a good hook once again. I thought Hokuto, given that he had the support of a hunter and DarkLighter taunting, given that he had the support of a hunter and a sky tank, which synergized a bit better with the Goblin Wrecker, I thought the north team would be, the north team would be able to push the middle a little bit, but they've been unable to properly dodge the hooks of DarkLighter, who has gotten a lot of very impressive hooks this game. Not that one there. Hokuto is able to hook playwithnoob. Taking out the hunter is always good in a fight. In public with his own good hunter ultimate. And they have 3 people down, so Pikabar's going to build, try to hold off this command post until his allies can survive. Gabriel teleports in. He spawns troops to deal with Pikabar's barricade, and the north team is able to take that command post back. GoblinKing not able to get a kill on an additional factory in the meantime, though the second laser tower protecting the middle factories is down, so some small progress was made. If the north team has any chance of winning this, it needs to happen very quickly. They need to make plays like that. 2 or 3 more of those, and they can make up some of the gold advantage, and perhaps take away these offensive command posts from GoblinKing. DarkLighter misses the hook on public there. Incognito is a little bit out of position, though he does have his command post he can get back to soon, and he also has his extended repair, or his power pack even. In fact, he might get the kill on... No, Public has too many creeps around him. Gabriel might try to deal some damage to the enemy team's base. It's a bit too little too late, though. It is at least a useful thing he can do as his ghost tank with possession of that proximate command post. DarkLighter misses the hook. Fight going on at the base. Incognito does use his power pack. It's probably not going to be enough. Oh, especially not going to be enough as he's netted. Though it did take a while for the North team to get the kill, and Incognito did get a kill in the meantime. Hokuto with the hook on DarkLighter. I don't think he has the... Actually, he does have the DPS to follow it up by himself, and then playwithnoob misses the Hunter ultimate. He's actually in trouble unless Hokuto can walk into the acid cloud enough. No, Hokuto does get the kill and he's able to stay out of the acid cloud. South team making some blunders recently, and DarkLighter is commenting on playwithnoob's misplay there. Only 2 factories are down, so if the South team can take both of these command posts and perhaps build a factory or 2 back here, they're still at a gold disadvantage and an armor upgrade disadvantage. But they can use this command post right here and Gabriel to deal some damage back to the South team, the same way GoblinKing did. It's a long shot, but it's a possibility. Gabriel gonna get another tower kill, though he's gotta hurry back to this command post here. Playwithnoob is able to, or Public, wrong team, is able to also be there to protect it. 13 and 15 creep upgrades for the South team, 10 and 10, so 8 upgrades. An 8 upgrade advantage for the North team. That does make a huge difference when creeps are present. You do get 2 more kills. Playwithnoob. Frost Robot is able to teleport away properly. Pikabar does get the kill on Gabriel, who was probably trying to build something at this command post here. That wasn't the best time to build anything anyway, given that 2 of his teammates had just died. Public with a kill on GoblinKing, though GoblinKing has taken out a 3rd factory. DarkLighter is able to get a Goliath. One of the advantages of having a ghost tank getting armor upgrades on your team is that you usually have earlier access to tanks than you otherwise would. And is Incognito gonna... Maybe the net has a limited range. I was expecting Incognito to be teleported all the way back here since he was running over the trees when the net hit. Gabriel might just be giving up that command post. The team might just be giving up altogether, given that this Goliath is present. Gabriel trying to snipe more towers, get gold any way he can. Though his time is pretty much run out for the North team. Especially if they lose this command post. They lose Gabriel's sieging position and they lose easy access to the endgame tank factory. Tank construction hall, I guess is the technical name. Hokuto able to get a good hook on Incognito, who teleports away. Once again, the net didn't hit. I wonder if the net has a limited range. Pikabar did try to take this command post, though it was responded to in timely fashion. He does try to take the topmost command post, but there's a teleport breaker present, and that's going to buy some time for the South team to respond properly. Public does die, Hokuto does die. Are they going to be able to get the build? Hellcat does get the build out. Gabriel comes in with the troops. They're going to repel this attack for now. Good response by the North team, especially this teleport breaker here. That was very valuable. Who is it that had the nets? I'm going to check to see if there's a maximum range on it. I think enemy had the nets, but he doesn't have them anymore. Or maybe the fact that Incognito teleports out of the way dodges the net. Maybe that's the thing that's stopping it. Because I think both instances I showed the net launched, he teleported out of the way and afterwards ran into trees as the net projectile, the animation hit. GoblinKing not able to quite get the kill on the tech mech there, and he did waste his freeze. That could come back to bite him. DarkLighter might get the kill right now. No, he's stunned for far too long. Good play by the North team. Enemy does get killed, but playwithnoob also gets killed. The problem for the North team is that even in these long drawn-out fights in which they might get a slightly advantageous trade, they're just buying time for GoblinKing to kill more factories. A fourth factory is down and a fifth one is almost down as well. And even these towers are just falling to the creeps slowly. The creeps have too much of an advantage. Yeah, 12 and 12 to 15 and 16. A 9 upgrade advantage, and a fifth factory is down. Pikabar able to respond to Gabriel in time to stop him from killing a tower. And poor Public doesn't have, well, actually he has a pretty decent array of weapons. Hunter does struggle a bit versus Ghost Tank builds because it doesn't have as much DPS or as good of abilities to deal with creep spawns. It can use its main gun, its Q ability, and that's about it. Hokuto didn't even use his hook, he used a net launcher to draw in Incognito. Let's see if he uses his hook soon. It's probably off cooldown, or on cooldown. And these creeps are becoming so tough that the North team is having to split their attention between dealing with command post aggression from the South team, but also just dealing with creeps at the base who, left to themselves, are going to start taking out even these protective towers. They just have too many upgrades. South team showing some aggression at this command post here. Hokuto is the only one left, and Gabriel. Gabriel dies. Hellcat teleports in. Pikabar does build a laser tower. That's probably going to give them the command post. That's too much hit points and DPS for the South team to deal with. Public is not able to respond in time, and he's probably going to doesn't quite get killed. Hellcat does build before the North team can get there. The South team, sorry. And losing this command post does lose Gabriel any position from which to siege, and it also loses them easy access to the tank construction hall. So, if they had any chance before, which they really didn't, they really don't have a chance now. And even if they make good plays like they did earlier, there's too heavy of a tank advantage from the South team. GoblinKing trying to get at that last factory. Hellcat does try to teleport onto Incognito. He is stopped by a breaker, and then DarkLighter or somebody is able to use a kinetic shield in time to save him. And Hellcat's the one that dies, and Public, playwithnoob, almost died. So instead of getting the kill on Incognito, 2 of their team dies. Hokuto misses the hook. DarkLighter was heading there anyway. Gabriel trying to take out this command post at the south. It's not going to work. And he's actually going to die, and he's going to lose a tower. GoblinKing almost takes out the last factory. He has taken out the troop command. He might just kill it with his own weapons. Almost. Teleports out. See everybody just trying to dance around. South team hoping for some, or North team hoping for some South team members to hop too far out of position, or for playwithnoob to just use his Hunter ultimate on nobody. Public, and meanwhile able to at least catch 2 people in his ultimate. DarkLighter falls. That's the biggest tank on the South team, and Incognito's tower isn't going to do much. And in fact, Incognito himself might die if they have enough DPS. Yep. So that was a blunder by the North team, or the South team. At least GoblinKing was able to take out the last factory, so he can continue to siege the base, take out these protective towers. Once these protective towers are gone, there's little that can deal damage to these creeps. So these creeps are going to start stacking up at the headquarters, and that's going to split a lot of the attention and time away from the North team. It's now been an hour into the game. Let's see if any of the South team gets any large tanks. Public, good combo kill. They're able to get the kill on pikabar. Playwithnoob not able to get his orbital off in time. Nearly dies even. Enemy doesn't have the DPS to quickly take out pikabar's tower. Pikabar's mech was present. I wonder if he built that tower seeing enemy come over. Good timely response by him. And the North team, or the South team, holds that position. Gabriel showing some aggression. He can't do much to follow it up though. His tank is too weak and doesn't have enough damage. The best he can do is distract, or maybe hop in and at an opportune time after people have used their abilities and spawn a bunch of troops for cover. South team does have armor upgrade 18, so we could see a Titan come in. And that's exactly what happens. Incognito comes in with a Titan, and he still has 844 DPS and a teleporter, so this is probably the end. Public misses the ultimate on GoblinKing. GoblinKing does have a teleport he can use in a pinch. And the final aggression is coming. Incognito does get the Q off, the obelisk off. It's going to make it a pain for anybody to teleport in, and playwithnoob does get a good ultimate off. Incognito is able to build, and yeah, this is probably it. That command post is going to fall, Public is going to die, and every command post is now secured by the South team, and these headquarter towers are falling. So if the South team doesn't give up now, they might just be saying, F it, we're going to lose in about 2 minutes anyway. Might as well play it out to the end. North team arguing over whose fault it is. Hellcat blaming Gabriel and I assume enemy for feeding too much, and Gabriel shooting back that Hellcat was still a helicopter until about 45 or 50 minutes. Gabriel saying that you can't compare his kill-death ratio to a normal tank since he was a ghost, and GoblinKing, the ghost on the South team, shoots back that actually, yes, you can, and he has a... Why don't you compare the two ghosts, given that GoblinKing has a much higher kill-to-death ratio this game. GoblinKing did have the advantage of having his team secure the first command post and get a good position to siege the base. Pikabar drops in with an infernal robot. He's going to die, but he's going to deal a lot of damage in the meantime. And all the protective towers are gone, save for this rocket tower. That's not going to be enough. The North team, even if they wanted to get some tanks, they don't really have the ability to do that. I think only enemy is the one really trying to save for anything. The others are just trying to buy weapons, pad their stats a little bit, I assume. Pikabar dropping in. That was a bit too aggressive there. He's just gonna die. Too many stuns. North team trying to stall the South team by building plenty of towers. They did get 2 kills out of that exchange though, so that's gonna prolong the game slightly. I don't know what's worse, Tier 2 at minute 65 or Tier 1 at minute 50. You be the judge. Bar does start the fight, kamikazing once again. Who dropped that bomb? Yeah, Pikabar is just goofing off at this point. Gabriel conquered a command post in the meantime, making this game take longer than it needs to. Now, if the North team can come out with like all Titans at once, maybe they have a chance. If maybe Hellcat gets a Frost Laser and the rest get Titans. But this is the end of the game. Even if that happened, the South team could just kill the headquarters before the North team could really do anything. Alright, well, this has been fun to commentate on. I tried to focus a bit more on the gameplay this time, so hopefully it was a better viewing experience. And yeah, good game, everybody. Titan music out.